my brother. He was my best friend. He was my mentor. He was a lawyer. He was the reason I became a lawyer. He was a really smart guy. He was, I remember giving the eulogy at his memorial service and talking about how he was proud of how frugal he was. Everybody called him kind of cheap, but I think he was just careful. And, you know, he was a real influence in my life, and it's a real void in my life and my family's life when we lost him.
On the day itself, can you describe, you know, how things unfolded?
I was here in Brooklyn, and you know, it was utterly unclear what was going on, but I was able to go up on the roof of my house and could see the smoke coming off of the Twin Towers, and you know, the winds were actually, at least for part of the time, towards Brooklyn. There, you know, there was paper blowing. I mean, there were even papers that fell into my backyard, but we didn't know. We were calling him, trying to reach him, couldn't reach him, and even, I mean, that day, those first days, you know, it was still rescue, not recovery. And so there was hope. And it wasn't until, you know, days and weeks unfolded when it was clear that there were so many people who were just gone. He would get to work fairly early. This was probably a little bit earlier than usual, you know. But he caught an early train. And, you know, he worked on the 66th floor, the North Tower, worked for the Port Authority for 20 years. And, you know, that was the one, if I remember right, that was hit first and came down second, so.
And for a few days, you didn't know if he was actually okay or not?
There was no way to be sure. And it doesn't stop being unfair. It doesn't stop being painful. It doesn't stop being a missing piece. The experience of being an observer in Guantanamo was incredibly emotional. The moment that they walked in and sat down, there were so many emotions simultaneously. Everything from just anger and hatred to, I mean, almost the kind of disappointment, because you're looking at Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, and here's a guy who, you know, is that all there is? I mean, it's one thing to imagine knowing that you know, you're confronting the person who murdered your family member in a courtroom. It's another thing to understand that you're confronting the person who murdered your family member and 2,975 other people at the same time.
And even in that moment, you're able to accept and even admire the due process that's going on in front of you.
Look, I've got a problem. You know, I sit here and I say to you that this is about character and what people do, and it's also about the character of the country and how the country acts. I'm pretty much opposed to the death penalty, right? I'm willing to make an exception in this case, and I struggle to reconcile those two things.
And, you know, you're probably in a unique position where you're a lawyer and a victim family member. You probably have had conversations with family members who don't have a lawyer's perspective.
Oh my God, yeah, of course.
And they see it and I mean, I know they've said to me, what on earth is going on?
Right.
Why are we talking about all these different things? And they're even saying the policy here is clearly just obstruct, delay, and not get to the actual trial. What do you say to them?
The point is that we can't just say we're better, we have to be better. It's our character that's on trial as a country in the same way that any individual's character is relevant and judged by their acts. So we have to act better, not just say we're better. I came away from Guantanamo overwhelmingly impressed by the people who who were on all sides. And guess what? The adversarial process only works if everybody's good on both sides. Then you get a good result.